Well, hello. Howdy, y'all. My name is Craig Tarwater. I'd like to welcome you to this video school of guitar production of how to play great jazz guitar level 3. We have quite a bit of ground to cover this morning because we need to get as much out of my pea brain as we possibly can. Can you imagine what would happen if I had a big brain? Okay, so the first thing we'll do is start with a tuning note, and then we're just going to launch right into this. This is a train of terror for jazzers. Okay, here's an A. Here's a 12th fret harmonic. Okay, very good. We should be in tune now. We're going to give you some tools of the trade and some examples. And first I'd like to start with the harmonized scale chords in the major key. And I'm going to show you the most accessible stuff, also what I play best so I won't look like an idiot. And this is going to be C major harmonized scale chords. So watch my left hand. Okay, this is C major 7. Let me play that backwards. Watch the fingers very closely. Okay, some of you may already know this. Hang tight, I'll find something you don't know. Okay, that's our first chord in the key of C major. In jazz harmony, which is 4-part or better. Jacks are better. I'll raise you and see you too. Or see you and raise you too. Okay, here's our second chord, D minor 7. Our second chord. Here's our third chord. It's just like the second chord, but 2 frets higher. Here's our fourth chord, which is just like the first chord. Okay, here's our fifth chord. And here's our sixth chord. Here's our seventh chord. And here's 1 octave higher than our first chord. Okay, let's let's play those chords back down the scale one time. Now, that can be used anywhere. As far as if you're playing in the key of D major, you can go. You may run out of fingerboard, so at that point you might like to play the 4 chord this way and the 5 chord this way. This will be the shape for your 6th chord and your 7th chord and your octave. So that can be done anywhere. Say if we're in the key of B or B flat, how about B flat? That's all the way down at the end of the fingerboard, okay? So there's a couple of ways you can combine these chords, and you can also play these chords up on the 6-string root type formations. We'll do this in G. Some people play this type of chord. It doesn't sound very good. It sounds better up here. It doesn't sound very good down here because it's too muddy. Okay? So it's better to leave out the 5th right there on the 5th string and just play it this way. 2 chord, 3 chord can be played there or here. So let me walk this example down using all of the fingerboard and all of the strings. Helps if I play the right 5 chord, huh? Okay, there we go. Okay, now we have arpeggio, so we'll go back to the key of C because these are the ones that are very fluid and I use them all the time. The first one, you can start either on the root note or you can start on the 7th note. It's your option. If you start it on the 7th note, it becomes a leading tone. And that's exactly what the 7th note of the major scale is called, is the leading tone. So here we go. Fingering is totally up to you. It's very, very optional. Okay, now one thing you can do is you can play your arpeggios in sequence. In other words, you can play and then you can slide up a half step and descend the 2nd chord's arpeggio, which sounds like this. Then you can go up a whole step to the 3rd note and play the arpeggio ascending. Then you can go up to the 4 chords, 7th note, and descend it. Then you can go on to the 5 chord. There's a couple of ways. You could maybe finger it like this too. Then on to the 3rd chord. I'm sorry, 6th chord. And then that would put you at That's the last fret on this guitar. Okay, this guitar has 20 frets. I'm history right there in C. That's why I use C as an example. Okay, now watch how these sound musical when you try them a couple of different ways. Okay, first of all, we'll go up each arpeggio just from their root notes. This is the C major 7 arpeggio. Then we go up the D minor 7 arpeggio. Then we go up the E minor 7. Then we go up the F major 7. Notice we're not using any leading tones. We're just starting on the root of the arpeggio. That's the 5th chord. That's the G7. That's your only dominant arpeggio in the 4-part harmonized major scale. Here's our 6th chord, A minor 7. This is our 7th chord, B minor 7, flat 5, or some people call it a half diminished. And then here's our 1 chord, 1 octave higher. Okay, now, if we zigzag those, we can get an interesting combination. But before we zigzag them, let's have them all go up the fingerboard, descending. Okay, this sounds like this. This is the C major 7 descending from its 7th tone, B. D minor 7 descending from its 7th tone, which is a flatted 7th, C. E minor 7 descending from its 7th tone, which is D. Also a flatted 7th. F major 7 descending from its 7th tone, again a natural 7th this time, E. Okay, G7 descending from its 7th tone, which is a flatted 7th again. This is the dominant arpeggio. This is a very big figurehead in jazz. Okay, this is the F note. And then this is our 7th arpeggio, our 6th arpeggio. I'm going to get these numbers straight yet. This is a flatted 7th tone again. And this is A minor 7 descending from G. Okay, and our last arpeggio before we repeat ourselves is the B minor 7 flat 5 descending from its tone, which is also a flatted 7th. What makes this a half diminished chord is that the 5th is flatted, otherwise it's a minor 7 chord. Okay, thank you very much. Now, if we zigzag, and this is what I was leading to, this starts to sound pretty musical, okay? And at this time we can lead off with a 7th tone if we like, but we'll just not do it for a second. Okay, watch what happens. And right about at that point, right there with that E note, we have played a C major 7 arpeggio again. Isn't that interesting? In other words, we started with same thing, 1 octave higher. So listen to how just the first 3 arpeggios zigzag sound. Very musical, very jazz-like, very good. Excellent. I'm very glad that you've learned this so far. Now, let's continue by doing the whole thing without breaking the sequence. We're going to zigzag slowly. C major 7. ascending, descending, D minor 7, ascending, E minor 7, descending, F major 7, ascending, G7, descending, A minor 7, ascending, B minor 7 with a flatted fifth or a half diminished, and descending one octave higher, C major 7. Can you believe I said that and played it? Now watch what happens. Everybody in the studio is laughing. This must be funny. Watch what happens if you play ascending from up high and come back down. You get a different musical input to your ear. Isn't that wonderful? I think it's just the greatest thing I've ever heard. Okay, let's move on up to the harmonic minor scale and its arpeggios. Actually, it's chords and its arpeggios. You already know the scales. Let's be sure you do know the chords. The first chord would be a C minor major 7. Some people call these augmented minors. I don't necessarily hold with that, but whatever. I see minor plus sometimes, augmented minor. I think of minor major 7 because it's a minor 7 chord. I'm sorry, it's a minor chord with a major 7th in it, which is the B note. Otherwise it would be a straight C minor. Okay, here we go. C minor major 7. That's the first chord. The second chord, this is referred to as your 2 chord, people, is a D minor 7, flat 5. Okay, your third chord is a E flat major 7 with a sharped 5th, and that's it with the pinky right there. Look what happens if you unflat it or unsharp it and lower it back down by playing the conventional major 7 fingering. Another way you could look at it is it's a G major C form, G major triad, played with the last 3 fingers, with an E flat root note in the bass. That's our third chord. This is the very most advanced chord to play with. It's the one that's just a few guys play real well with this chord and the arpeggio that results from it. Okay, on and upward to the fourth chord, which is an F minor 7. The 5 chord is the same as the major scale, G7. Now, the 6th chord is an A flat major 7. Our major chord, or major scale chord, was A minor 7. We drop that down a half step and make the minor 7 a major 7. That's our 6th degree of the scale. Okay, our 7th degree is a diminished 7th chord. And then 1 octave higher would be our first chord again. So listen to these chords descending. Okay, now the arpeggios. Here we go. This would be the C major, minor, C minor major, I'm confused, are you? No. It's C minor major 7 arpeggio. Here it is, slowly. One more time. It by itself sounds like a trick jazz line. Okay, now on to our second arpeggio, which is the D minor 7 flat 5 or the half diminished arpeggio. Slowly. Fingering once again is optional. One more time. Okay, here we go. Kind of sounds like a waterfall. It's got a beautiful pronounced effect if it's used correctly. Okay, at this point we have staggered our notes somewhat, but if we play the third chord arpeggio, the E flat major 7 sharp 5, we will at this point right here we are beginning to repeat one octave higher, just like we did in the major scale on the third chord, the first chord's arpeggio. Okay, so I'll show you this arpeggio real slow, up and down 2 times. Whoops. This is great. I love it when I make mistakes and leave them. The C note that I just had in there, folks, please eliminate that. That's not technically part of the arpeggio right there. Let's do this one more time. That time I left out the D. I'm batting 1,000 today. Here it is now, in all of its glory. Just in case you thought I couldn't play it, I can play it, see? Okay, our fourth arpeggio is the same one we learned 3 different places in the major scale. This is the F minor 7 arpeggio. Okay, our fifth arpeggio, the same as the major scale. I'm so used to slipping chromatic tones in the dominant arpeggio there, I just included the natural 7th, which is not part of it. So let me play it one more time. That's because I could do something like this. Let me give you a short little example. This is a breather, folks. So now you know why I stumbled. I didn't stumble at all. It's just a natural thing to do. you're going to want to play other notes besides the actual arpeggios. Let's go on to our sixth arpeggio for harmonic minor. This is it. A flat major 7. I'm going to play a different fingering coming down. One more time before the dreaded 7th arpeggio. This is the dreaded 7th arpeggio. This is the hardest one to remember how to play. It's best learned in small segments. This would be the B diminished 7th arpeggio. Here we go. This is a real hummer. So there's another way to play it that's real okay. Let me move down a little bit and I'll just show you. This is one that works pretty good for almost anybody. This involves moving up a fret at a time, and you go 1, 2, 3 frets away. So first and fourth finger frets. In other words, using the concept of a fret for each finger, we just use the outside fingers. But we move up 1 fret as we move up 1 string. When we get to the 2nd string, we have to move up 2 frets because it's tuned a half step lower. So we have to make up the ground. Then we're back up to just moving 1 fret as we move up to the last string. Okay, anyhow, our last arpeggio, the minor major 7, played 1 octave higher. Okay, listen to all these arpeggios now. And we'll play the zigzag pattern this time. Okay, listen to it descending, and we'll descend this time, descending, and that's descending and descending. Here we go. Notice I'm changing the fingerings around a little bit. That's on purpose, just to keep you guessing and keep you on your toes. Okay, we have one last set of chords and arpeggios. They're essentially, you've already learned them, but we need to let you know what they are. And this is the melodic minor scale. So our first arpeggio is exactly the same as harmonic minor. It's the minor major 7 arpeggio. Now, the second arpeggio is a minor 7th for the 2 chord. The third arpeggio is identical to harmonic minor, a major 7 sharp 5. Now the 4th and 5th arpeggios are both dominant. both the 6th and 7th degrees are minor 7 flat 5 or half diminished arpeggios. And then you come back to the first arpeggio 1 octave higher. Okay, watch them descend. Now let's do their chords and then we're done with this little section. Here's the first chord. This is melodic minor. Minor major 7, minor 7, major 7 sharp 5, dominant 7, dominant 7 again, minor 7 flat 5, minor 7 flat 5, and we're back to our 1 chord arpeggio. Boy, is that a tight squeeze. Listen to the chords. Okay, that's how they sound. Okay, very good. If you're the least bit confused up to this point, it would be very wise for you to rewind the tape and go over the material we've covered so far. Those chords and those arpeggios are rampant throughout the playing of every hero you have. Okay, that's a guarantee. And the next section we're going to go into is to show you some things about chord progressions, and then we'll give you some opportunity to play along. Okay, so watch my left hand. All right, we would like to know a lot about the 3-note chords right now because they really add spice to your playing. Okay, so let's just take the 2 chord for the key of C major, and that would be a D minor 7, and we could do it a couple of different ways, but for it to have a good minor 7 feel, it needs to have a 1, a flat 3, and a flat 7. We don't need the 5th. Okay, so that's just as much theory information as I'm going to give you, but here it is. Okay, now the 5 chord looks real good right here, a G7. And then the 1 chord, the C major 7, looks real good right here. Then when you have to resolve that, as you occasionally will, to a C6, you may go to a rootless chord where you have G in the bass and just the 2 top notes of the 3-note C6 chord. So listen to how that sounds in context, and I'm just going to thumb brush these and play them with a little bit of rhythm. Notice my fingers bouncing along. That's because they're choking out the notes, so it has that old-time rhythm sound. That's what you want to learn how to do with your 3-note chords. Now let's take this a little bit a step further. This was what's called the 2-5-1 progression. Now we're going to add in a little bass line, okay? We can do this if we don't do any finger style, it's fine. We can do it with just a pick. I'm going to use a pick. I thought about using my thumb, but I've decided I'll use my pick. That way I can be just like you, some of you. Okay, so we're going to go with a leading tone into the D. Now, if I play that finger style, then it's going to sound like this. Okay, now if I play it with a bit more swing feel and not quite so old-timey sounding, it's going to sound more like this. It's going to be chopped and more syncopated. Just to be sure that I don't leave you hanging out, watch exactly the fingering I'm using, and I will play this as slow as I can, and we'll see how this works out for you. Keep in mind the only strings I'm using right here are the top 4 strings, occasionally not using the 5th string and occasionally muting it. Okay, this is the 3rd, 4th, and 5th strings. Then I have to switch to the 6th, 4th, and 3rd strings. Now I'm still on the 6th, 4th, and 3rd strings. That's the 5th, 4th, and 3rd strings. Okay, so that's your 2-5-1 for the key of C major. Now let's take a look at another thing we can do. We can do a 3-6-2-5-1. So that would be moving our 2 up 2 frets and doing the 3rd chord. Then we go to our 6th chord, which is an A minor 7, which we find right here. You can play the 3 notes any way you want. A lot of times I play them with a separate finger for each string. Okay, here's the 3rd. 6th, 2, 5, 1, resolved to a 6th chord. Okay, if you look at a lot of your jazz songs, you're going to see these type of progressions. Okay, so here we go again. 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. To make it come out even, we usually have to go over the C major 7 to the C6 2 times around. Now let's check it out again. You'll be the hippest rhythm player in town if you learn to do this stuff, I guarantee it. Now let's try it a little more syncopated and add in, just sneak in a bass line. So we're going to need to go from the E to a B flat. That's going to be our in-between note from the E minor 7 and the A minor 7. Okay, so watch how that works. that point, we would be very wise and very sound to approach the D minor 7 from a half step above. At that time, we could either go to the A in the bass of that chord, or we could go to an A flat. So let's just try it and see what it sounds like. The tail end of that was a little bit old-timey. Let's see if we can clean it up. Okay, we're going to do an E minor 7, preceded, of course, by just the root note. Actually, a leading tone from a half step. Then we lead in from a half step above to the A minor 7. We do the same thing with the D minor 7, and the same thing with the G7. And then this is the one we need to clean up. That's a good way to clean it up. It's not totally modern sounding, but you'd be surprised how good it works anyway. Maybe one thing to do there is play less. Let's try it. Yeah, just a couple of chops on the tail end. Okay? Now, we can also do, there's a variety of progressions we can do because we know how to go from clear up here so we can do things like a 4 chord. Whoops, need to do that as a major 7. Okay, so that's a 4, 3, 6, and that will ultimately lead to a 2, 5, 1. We'll see how that sounds. That was a bit bobbled. Let's try it one more time. Oh, that was worse. The thing is, you got to keep the continuity in the flow. So let's do it this way. Because jazz phrasing spans 2 measures, a jazz line will span 2 measures. The way you want to count is 1, 3, 5, 7, 1, 3, 3, 5, 7. That's the part that makes it hard. So basically, if you go 4, 3, these are chord numbers now, 6, pause on the 6th, 2, 5, 1, you'll be in okay shape. Then you can mix that up and move it around and do what you want, okay? So, I think at this point it would be very good to go into the harmonic minor and the melodic minor and show you a variation that I use. Okay? Now we have the 2 chord in your basic harmonic minor. That's going to be a minor 7 with a flatted 5th. So it's fingered like this. What we get is we get the 1 note, we get the flatted 5, and we get the flatted 7th. If we were to play that with the pinky and put put our third finger up there on the sharped 5, we wouldn't be trying to name the chord. We would just know that when you're playing on a minor 7 flat 5 chord, a major third down is the 9th chord root. In other words, that triad with this note added becomes a 9th chord. What that should tell you is that you can play certain things with, in this case, B flat dominant that will agree with D minor 7 flat 5. Okay? Also, that should tell you that you can play D minor 7 flat 5, certain things that will agree with the B flat dominant. See how they both work together? Okay, let's try a 2-5-1 in minor. We're going to do the 2 chord, the 5 chord. Now, the true minor 1 chord would be the minor major 7. The problem is it sounds like a major 7 also, because it is. Without the minor tone in there, we can't tell if this is a C minor major 7 or if it's a C minor major 7. So a way around that is to play the 1 chord as a minor 7 and then go down to the 5, the number 5 or 5th note in the root, and play a minor 6th as the resolution chord. Now listen to how this sounds. 2, 5, 1, and there's our resolved chord, the minor 6th for the 1st degree. We can still use the minor major 7. It'll sound okay. Watch it. Okay, so it does work. Now, you get into a little bit more delicate detail if you start fiddling around with using the 3rd and 4th degrees of the minor scale. Okay, let's take a look at this. We go up, we play just the 3-note chord version. Then we go to our 6th chord, which, as we know, in this particular key is an A flat major 7. Then we would go back to a D minor 7 flat 5, then to a G7, and to our 1 chord of choice, resolving to the minor 6th chord. So let's see how this one works. Sometimes you can offset the minor 7th with the minor major 7, which primarily, as I've said, sounds major 7. Okay, that'll take care of pretty much what happens with the chords. If you're playing in melodic minor, just remember your 2 chord should be a minor 7 if you want to be proper. But you can intermix the melodic and the harmonic minor scales. You just need to be careful. Okay, we're going to have some more fun now because we're going to show you some applied lines, and these applied lines will help us learn how to play the minor blues. And if you can play them, you can play darn near about anything, okay? So go ahead and watch my left hand now, and I'm going to give you some examples to play with a C minor blues. These are going to be actual lines I would appreciate if you'd learn. Because when we go to do this with the tape, I'm going to have you copy me. Okay, this would be a great one to do on the C minor 7 chord. Let's do that again. Okay, another good one would be from the E flat major 7. I'll do that slow. Slightly different, but still the same basic idea. Okay, on the F minor 7. We'll do it again. Now, the killer line of all time can be played for the 5 chord. For the 5 chord in this song, it actually goes A flat 7 to G7 with a sharp 5th. And then to some form of your choice of a C minor something. Okay, the line that works really good, and a couple of ideas you can consider to use, are from the raised 5th degree, which would be A flat, you would play melodic minor. About the time you get back to there, you'll be ready for the 5th note of the C minor chord. Okay, so watch this again real slow. This will make you sound really good right away. There are so many minor arpeggios that are played just triadically. You have to learn these, okay? So you need to learn your arpeggios and then break them down into 3-note segments. There are also some times when you can use from the sharp 5th degree just the major chord arpeggio. It sounds pretty good. Okay, now another one, and this is a scale I'm going to teach you real quick that you may already know. This is very simple. You just have to adhere to the formula. Okay, you play from the 5th degree. So this works good then, in other words, for 2, 5, 1. And by the way, this is a substitution for the 2 chord, the sharp 5 dominant chord. Okay, so watch this line. This comes from G. You go a half step to a whole step, then to a half step. Now we need to switch strings, so that conveniently happens right here. Whole step, half step, 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 whole step. Notice we had to move up an extra fret because of the tuning. Half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, and then we would be at a G. So watch this very carefully. The trick of this scale is it can be descended in different spots. Doesn't always have to be descended in the same place. So, in other words, if we're going see how it works? It always allows you to come back, if you work it right, to one of the chord tones of your one chord. Okay, let's have a couple of examples now with our band. Here we go. Copy me. That's a minor add 9. That's a major add 9. Those are great things. Okay, copy me. Okay, your turn. Copy me. Okay, here we go again. Let's do it again. Now I'm going to use only the E flat major scale. Your turn. A form, E flat major scale, right there. Use your sequences. I sure hope that you've been able to learn from this, and I invite you to wind the tape back and watch it all a few times before you even pick up your guitar. Of course, that's really hard to do. Anyhow, we'll be having some more treatments on the advanced stages of this, highly advanced, hyper advanced. We can really go way further than this, but most people can't. Okay, so thank you all a lot. And we're going to go out of here with a B-flat blues that's one of your bonus tracks, and you'll get the same minor blues again before the tape ends. So you can play along with about 4.5, 5 minutes of songs here. I'm just going to play a little bit and then I'll disappear, okay? Thanks a lot. Here it comes, folks. Watch out.
Bebop Blues.
Here we are.
Minor Blues.